There is something growing in front of millions of American homes right now. It consumes more water than any food crop in the country. It produces 0 calories, and most people maintain it without ever asking why. That thing is a lawn. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, residential outdoor water use in the United States accounts for nearly 8 billion gallons of water every single day, the vast majority of which goes toward landscape irrigation, not wheat, not corn, grass. And yet the same space right now could be producing food. In the next 10 minutes, you will learn a 6-ingredient method that can turn any lawn, including one made of pure sand, into a productive food garden. Without expensive equipment, without years of experience, and in many cases, at almost no cost. Every single ingredient in this method already exists somewhere near you. Most of it is currently being thrown away. Anyone who switches off now will miss a system that has been proven to work, even in some of the most challenging soil conditions in North America. And they will miss the historical evidence that shows exactly how powerful this idea really is. During World War I and World War II, the U.S. government launched one of the most ambitious food movements in American history, the Victory Garden Campaign. Citizens were called upon to transform backyards, rooftops, school grounds, and vacant lots into vegetable gardens. The response was staggering. By 1944, an estimated 20 million Victory Gardens had been planted across the country, and at the height of the campaign, those gardens produced roughly 40% of all fresh vegetables consumed in the United States. That figure comes from surveys conducted by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and has since been confirmed by the Smithsonian Institution and the National Archives. Then the war ended. The gardens disappeared. The lawn came back. And over the following decades, an entire generation forgot that this had ever been possible. The method that made those gardens work, building the soil, working with nature rather than against it, did not disappear. It just stopped being taught. Here is how it works with 6 ingredients. The first ingredient is cardboard. Lay it flat directly on top of the existing lawn, covering the entire area you plan to convert. It requires no chemicals, no machinery, and no special skill. The cardboard suppresses the grass underneath, cutting off its light, and begins to break down into the soil over time. Any tape or staples should be removed beforehand. Cardboard does not need to be purchased. Grocery stores, liquor retailers, and especially appliance shops discard large quantities of it every week. Most will let you take it for free. The second ingredient goes directly on top of the cardboard: mulch, ideally a layer of around 30 centimeters deep. Mulch does several things at once. It locks in moisture even during dry periods, because instead of rain running off a hard lawn surface, water is absorbed and retained in the organic material below. It regulates soil temperature, protecting the bacteria and fungi living in the ground from heat extremes. And over time, it breaks down into the rich, dark organic matter that forms the basis of fertile soil. Research confirms that mulch creates an environment where mycorrhizal fungi, symbiotic organisms that extend the reach of plant root systems and improve nutrient uptake, can thrive. These fungi are essential to long-term soil health, and they cannot survive in bare, compacted, or chemically treated ground. Like cardboard, mulch does not need to be bought. Tree trimming and tree removal companies produce enormous quantities of shredded wood as a byproduct of their work. Many of them pay to dispose of it at landfills. Contacting a local tree service and asking them to drop a load directly onto your property is often entirely free. The third ingredient is compost or quality topsoil. How much you need depends entirely on what you are starting with. Regions with naturally rich soil may require very little. Areas with poor, sandy ground, common in parts of Florida and the American Southwest, will need more. Municipal yard waste programs in many cities convert collected garden material into compost that residents can collect at no charge. Spent substrate from mushroom farms is another documented source that works well as a soil amendment. Where compost must be purchased, organic sources are preferable to synthetic alternatives. The fourth ingredient costs nothing: sunlight. For beginners, a location with full sun exposure is strongly recommended. In temperate climates, that means 7 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. In very hot regions, 5 to 6 hours can be sufficient. Morning sun is preferable to afternoon sun, as it is less intense and causes less moisture loss. Water is the fifth ingredient, and like sunlight, it can be obtained for free. Rainwater harvesting is the simplest method available. Route a downspout into a barrel or collection tank, instead of letting it drain into the street. This works in every climate, including desert regions where capturing every drop is most critical. For more precise delivery, drip irrigation is the most efficient option currently available. According to data from the USDA Agricultural Research Service, well-maintained drip systems achieve an application efficiency of around 90%, meaning nearly all the water delivered actually reaches the plant root zone. Conventional sprinkler systems, by comparison, operate at between 65 and 75% efficiency under good conditions, and significantly lower in heat or wind. The EPA has noted that switching from sprinklers to drip irrigation can reduce outdoor water use by 20 to 50%. Two practical rules apply regardless of the system used. Water in the morning, before temperatures rise to reduce evaporation loss, and water at the base of plants rather than overhead. Overhead sprinklers are the least efficient watering method available. During the first 30 to 45 days after planting, young plants need more consistent moisture as they establish. After that, a well-built system with good mulch cover can function with minimal irrigation, or in some setups, none at all. The sixth ingredient is the plants themselves. To plant into this system, pull back the mulch layer, amend the exposed soil underneath with compost, set the plant in place, and keep the mulch away from the base of the stem. For annual vegetables, work in more compost around the planting area. For perennial vegetables, plants that return year after year, less intervention is needed over time. Perennial vegetables are worth particular attention for anyone building a low-maintenance garden. Once established, they produce food reliably across multiple seasons without replanting. Books and guides specific to local growing zones can help identify which species perform best in a given climate. Planting densely is a practical strategy for suppressing weeds. Closely spaced plants block light from reaching the soil surface, preventing weed seeds from germinating. When weeds do appear, they should not be removed from the site. Instead, pile them in a corner of the garden or around the base of larger plants. All the nutrients they contain remain on site, cycling back into the soil. This is the principle that separates a truly sustainable garden from a conventional one. Nothing leaves. Plant material, weeds, kitchen scraps, decomposing mulch, all of it stays, all of it breaks down, and all of it feeds the next cycle. In doing so, the garden actively draws carbon out of the atmosphere and binds it into the soil, a process scientists refer to as carbon sequestration. Consider what it means that lawn grass is the most irrigated crop in the United States. Not a food crop, not a fiber crop. Grass, a plant that requires regular watering, regular fertilizing, and regular chemical treatment, and produces nothing edible in return. The fertilizers applied to American lawns carry nitrates that wash into local waterways when it rains. Urban runoff, much of it from residential landscaping, has been identified as one of the leading contributors to water quality impairment across the country. Pesticides applied to keep lawns visually uniform have been detected in groundwater supplies. The EPA's own data identifies landscape runoff as a significant source of pollution in lakes and rivers. A system built on selling fertilizers, herbicides, and irrigation equipment does not benefit from people learning to grow food on compost and free mulch. And yet the evidence from the 1940s is clear. When Americans decided to use their available land to grow food, the results were measurable on a national scale. That capacity has not gone anywhere. The land is still there. 6 ingredients: cardboard, mulch, compost, sun, water, plants. Go outside. Look at your lawn. The soil underneath it has been waiting.